Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Banter Era. We've aged maybe, some might say, mere hours between
if that.
These last 2 episodes. Some might say I even look younger in this. No?
Nice jacket.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the show. We've got some fantastic Banter Era moments lined up for you. Don't forget, though, in the comments, let us know if we've missed any Banter Era moments. Maybe they're coming in a future episode, or maybe we have actually missed them and need the heads up.
We have got a list, viewers. We have got a list of our 50 moments, but they could be improved. So if you think we might have forgotten some, and bear in mind the next episode will be the last, drop us a line at banterera@yahoo.com or just in the replies to tweets and stuff like that, or indeed YouTube. But yeah, we want to make sure we've got 50 golden moments. They have to be the absolute best, and it is quite possible, bearing in mind we are working purely from memory.
Yeah, which is
weren't taking notes at the time because we were too busy having fun, weren't we? With things like the next clip, Paul.
Yeah, line us up, Chris. This is Elon
Musk.
Elon Musk causing absolute chaos to a man who many considered
a bit of a hero.
Of a hero after successfully saving the lives of how many children?
Quite a few. I don't know.
30 Thai children.
Don't ask me details. The point is,
lots of kids.
The guy was called Vern Unsworth, which is a strong name.
Powerful name.
He's Englishman, and some Thai kids got stuck in a cave.
As you do.
For quite a long time. And Vern was, I suppose, in charge of getting him out. But Elon Musk didn't think he was going to do it, or didn't think he was going to do a good enough job. And so he proposed sending some elaborate machine to go down the cave and somehow get them out. And that never happened. It never needed to happen because Vern was on the case. And then for reasons that I can't fully remember, to be honest, but hopefully will come up in one or two of these videos, he ended up calling Vern pedo guy. Let's check out.
All right, shares of the electric car company Tesla fell sharply Monday after the company's CEO, Elon Musk, accused an organizer of the Thai cave rescue of being a pedophile. It started last week when British diver Vernon Unsworth called Musk's plan to rescue the 12 boys trapped inside the cave with a submarine a PR stunt. Unsworth also told CNN that Musk could stick his submarine where it hurts.
Oh man!
No, he
just goes straight for the pedo line.
You can see there Vern not looking very happy, having been told something. Yeah. Let's see that clip in full.
Which included this offensive and unsubstantiated tweet in which he called Mr. Unsworth a pedo, a tweet which has since been deleted. Mr. Unsworth said he was considering legal action.
I believe he's called me a paedophile. I think people realise what sort of guy he is.
Would you consider taking legal action against him?
Yes. It's not finished.
There we go. Now, you would think he would have quite a strong case, wouldn't you? Because to be very clear, there is no evidence whatsoever that he's a paedophile. And it's quite one of the most serious slurs you can be,
probably the worst thing you could say.
Be accused of. So he did go to the lawyers, he did take action, but then he lost, which is very awkward, on the basis that Musk said that growing up in South Africa, everyone used to call each other pedo guy. It was a term of affection, just a normal phrase where I'm from.
Pedo, pedo guy.
So he said no offence was caused, and so Vern unfortunately lost his case and presumably quite a bit of money. So here he is with Piers Morgan talking about it.
I respected the jury verdict. Not that I really accepted it, but life goes on.
I mean, it's an extraordinary thing, Eva, where you perform an act of real heroism in helping to save these kids against all the odds from this appalling situation they were in. And then a billionaire goes on social media and brands you a paedophile. And I can't think of anything worse, frankly. Or
don't rub it
in the face to someone who was doing what you were doing.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he could have called me anything else but that.
Right. That's not the word.
Exactly.
This is why it was the best of times. It was the best of times. Stuff like that would never happen now, even with Elon Musk around. And he's saying some pretty fruity things on Twitter, but nothing as good as that. Not funny as that.
It's not shooting from the hip, calling people pedos.
For no reason at all. Let's move on to the next item. Mr. Pete Doherty
Oh, Pete. Yeah,
Pete
we've got
Doherty.
Pete.
Yeah. No, there's no video with this one, unusually, because unfortunately there was nobody there to witness it with a video camera, although there are photos. So this is
Thank
Pete
God.
Doherty, thank God indeed, former singer of the Libertines, who at this point, and I think we're talking around about 2018, was living in Margate for some reason.
As you do.
And I think I'm probably legally safe in saying he'd been taking drugs.
I think you can go on record.
I don't think he's going to sue me for that.
I think he'll be all right.
And he was skint and hungry on this particular day. And in Margate, there's a cafe where if you can eat this enormous, and I mean enormous all-day breakfast, then you get it for free. And so Doherty went along, and bearing in mind, he's a skinny little fella, Pete Doherty. He doesn't look like he's going to be. I mean, we'll have a look at the breakfast in a second.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, right? He doesn't look like he can manage it, but he did, and he later said that he had to because he didn't have the money to pay for it. So there he is, about halfway through, and we've got a whole.
How long's he been there?
I don't know. He looks like he's struggling, doesn't he? At that point,
Yeah.
and yet by the end of it, he had. As you can see, completed it.
Unbelievable.
Incredible.
Wow, look how much better he looks after finishing it.
Yeah. He's picked him up. He's got his cup of tea or coffee.
Outfit change.
Well, he's just taking his
jacket
jacket off, hasn't he? Probably sweating a bit
That's
at
like
that
that
point.
dress thing where it looks different.
This, of course, little did we know then, but he would go on to eat a lot of food over the next few years. I don't know if you've seen him recently, but he is no stranger to the...
he's a big boy now.
To some cheese and bread, at the very least, living over in France. I genuinely
Smashing
think he
a
looks
sausage
good
roll.
now. He could very easily be dead. Look at what he's like before.
Yeah, he was in a bad time.
And now he's a happy fat man, I think. This moment was immortalised on this beautiful bit of graffiti. Maybe in Margate, maybe somebody else. He later gave an interview to The Guardian in which he said, I was starving, I was skint, so I had a go at it. I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't finished it. It's the one thing that's made me accepted in the community here. They probably, in Margate, they probably don't appreciate his kind of bohemian, libertine behaviour, but they do appreciate anyone who can polish off the big breakfast.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's like headline Glastonbury. Was he like with Kate Moss at one point? I mean, he was like out every night in London. One of the most successful indie bands in the UK. Nah, not enough for Margate.
The big breakfast.
Smash a breakfast. That breakfast changed his life.
In many ways, he did.
Fired him up. He thought, you know what?
Might have saved his life.
Yeah,
to
never
some
mind
extent.
drugs. Smash a bacon.
Yeah,
bacon.
He's now into the food, and good on him. I think
play.
it's good that he's still alive, and he might not be had he never done that.
Yeah, fair play. Well done, Pete, and well done, Margate Breakfast Cafe. Politicians,
over to you.
Come in all different shapes and sizes on this show. Sometimes they're driving us mad by pretending that they're normal and being anything but normal. Sometimes they're trying to destroy the dreams and aspirations of children who believe in Santa. And sometimes they're just on Strictly Come Dancing, teabagging people live, which is kind of what I want from my politicians at the moment.
They don't do that anymore, do they?
You would not see a politician.
Keir Starmer.
Do you know what? Politicians have become so unpopular. You're never going to see a politician on Strictly Come Dancing.
No, well, I wouldn't, because I wouldn't watch it if you give me £500. But
you don't watch anything, do you?
I don't watch that. No.
Yeah, this is great. A good classic Gangnam style dance. Ed Balls doing what he does best.
Descending into teabagging.
Teabagging.
Let's have a look.
There we go. Just teabag one of the dancers on. There you go. Thanks for that, Ed. Wonder who came up with that dance move.
I wouldn't be happy if I was that woman, him lifting me up.
Wouldn't
like
be
that,
over the moon.
spinning me around.
National TV.
Even with a professional dancer, I'd be
like
nervous.
teabagging.
Having Ed Balls, former Chancellor, doing
Teabagging.
it, and a complete amateur.
He's become
I
one of
wouldn't
those.
like the teabagging either, no, but the being spun around.
Not safe.
No.
He's become more annoying though, hasn't he? After that, he started the podcast. He's one of those politicians who decides to do podcasts.
Yes, with George Osborne. Oh, chalk and cheese, and yet we've come together to give the centrist opinion about everything.
And get everything wrong, which is the ongoing theme of a lot of these podcasts, like The Rest is Politics. Just If you want to know what's not going to happen, or probably what is not happening, listen to
what is not happening and what's not going to happen in the future.
Do you want a shit take on something important? Tune in. We're going to, you know what I mean? Anyway, it's another episode.
No, I mean, Centrist Podcast, that's a good example of how things have got a lot worse since Banter Era.
Yeah.
It didn't exist.
The fact people listen to that stuff, I just find bewildering.
Yeah.
Like, I can't understand why you would...
And pay money to them.
Go live. People go watch the rest of politics live.
Yeah. Let's
what
see
are you getting from
the
that?
news agents live at the Royal Albert Hall.
Let's pay a ticket for something that they're going to say anyway on a podcast that I get for free. It's not like anyway.
It's mystifying, but you know,
the assassin's back.
The free market's never wrong. The assassin is, ladies and gentlemen, Nick Ferrari. If you saw the last episode, and I hope you did. If you didn't, it's on YouTube. You would have seen Nick Ferrari very politely filleting Natalie Bennett, former leader or co-leader of the Green Party, over some plans to build houses at a remarkably cheap price. A very similar thing happened 2 years later in the 2017 election with Diane Abbott, who was, let's have a guess, the Shadow Health Secretary or something like that. Well, no, but Shadow Home Office probably, because she's talking about the police here, folks. She is talking about her plans to recruit 10,000 police officers. And rather like Natalie Bennett, she didn't seem to bother to ask how much this is going to cost. Fairly obvious question that's going to come up on LBC. And she says initially £300,000, which if you do the maths very quickly is £30 a year.
Yeah, okay.
Which does seem quite a small salary, doesn't it?
Yeah, somewhat.
She then ups it to 80 million, which is £8,000 a year, and still not enough. And she suffers from what Natalie Bennett calls brain fade. I think it's safe to say.
She gets that a lot, Diane, doesn't she? To be fair.
She, as years have gone on, more and more so. Yeah. Let's have a listen.
How much would 10,000 police officers cost?
Well, if we recruit the 10,000 police men and women over a 4-year period, we believe it'll be about £300,000.
£300,000?
Sorry,
10,000 police officers? What are you paying them?
No, I mean, sorry.
How much will they cost?
It will cost
Somebody
about 80 million.
Scribbling things down.
About 80 million.
Yeah.
How much would 10,000 police officers cost?
Well, if we recruit the 10,000 police men and women...
Right, now, there is more. There is more
So faithful.
in a separate video. He's not going to let it lie, rightly so.
80 million divided by 10,000 equals 8,000. So what are these police officers going to be paid?
We will be paying them the average...
Has this been thought through?
Of course it's been thought through.
What gives you that impression?
The additional cost in year one, when we anticipate recruiting about 250,000 policemen, will be 64.3 million.
250,000 policemen?
And women.
So you're getting more than 10,000. You're recruiting 250,000.
No, we are recruiting 2,000 and perhaps 250. And
Clearly he's making this up as she goes.
1,000 come from.
I think you said that, not me.
No, you...
Bit of gaslighting as well.
The team are all that.
No, I didn't say that. I think you said that.
Get her off. Get her off.
I mean, that really is
it's
an exactly overused phrase, but car crash interview.
Absolute car crash.
What was she briefed? She made up about 7 different sets of figures there in the space of 2 minutes.
I don't get how staff don't look after politicians in those instances. You're better off just letting it end.
Just hang up.
Just end it. Yeah, do you know what? Just end it.
Yeah, sorry, phone died.
Or just be honest. Imagine an honest politician that just goes, do you know what? I actually don't know.
Yeah.
We're
going to borrow as much as it costs, Nick, we'll pay.
Yeah.
The important thing is to get an extra 100,000 or 80,000 or 2,500, whatever.
And 250.
Men and women on the beat. She's very insistent about the women thing, wasn't she? Unsurprisingly.
Oh, dear.
Now, let's move on to the world of sport. Now, with Gary Lineker, we'll be coming on to Gary Lineker a little bit later in the show, but one of the incredible banter moments of the Banter Era was, of course, Leicester City winning the
Pure
Premiership. I mean, just the kind of 1,000,000 to 1 kind of event that would only really happen in the late 2010s. However, there wasn't anything particularly funny about it, so we haven't included it as a greatest moment. Gary Lineker did try to inject some banter into it by him being a Leicester fan and former Leicester player. He said halfway through the season, when Leicester were top of the table, if they win the Premiership, I would do the first episode of next season's Match of the Day in my underpants. And that was supposed to be a great crack. And everyone wondered over the summer, is he going to do it? Is he not? And then when the first episode came out, he turned up being a good sport, having clearly worked out a lot as well, getting quite a tan going, wearing the longest pair of boxer shorts you've ever seen in your life. And he only wore them for about 10 minutes before he changed into his suit and did the rest of it. So it was an attempt by Gary to be funny, which fell flat. However, less well-known, Mark Williams, if you're a snooker fan, Mark Williams winning the World Championship in 20-something.
Banter Era. In the
Banter Era, yeah. Was nearly as surprising as Leicester City winning the Premiership, because he was considered a bit yesterday's man. And Mark Williams said at some point during the tournament that if he wins the tournament, he would do the press conference bollock naked. And unlike Lineker, didn't try and cheat, and he actually did it. Let's have a look at the press conference.
Many congratulations. World champion for the third time. Those are just the bare facts. How does it feel?
To be honest, a little bit uncomfortable at the minute. But I wouldn't have wore the towel. I wore this off barrier and I had to put the towel around, otherwise I would have just walked in crying. But I'm over the moon. It's what a match to be involved in. I mean, I missed an easy pink to win it. And I don't know where that break come from in the last frame. It's probably one of the best breaks under pressure I've ever had in my life.
I like the way he does a proper interview.
Yeah.
Doesn't let it distract him.
He delivers.
Let's have another little bit of that press
Of course,
conference.
she also,
Talking about his wife,
talked you out of retirement a year ago. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable story, really. 12 months ago, I was thinking about chucking it. Here I am, doing an interview, just won the 2018 World Championship. Bollock naked.
Of course, she also, we understand,
now, before we leave the subject of snooker, if you don't mind, Paul, I'd like to add a little chaser in.
Put a little chaser in.
Ronnie O'Sullivan doing most of his interviews during one season in an Australian accent for reasons he never really explained. He did say
he knows.
I just did it for. He was bored, I think. Just decided to do it. It was a very successful season for him as well. He managed to score his 1000th century, be the first player ever to do that during the season, and he won quite a few trophies as well. And this was partly because he spoke in an Australian accent, because he said at one point the Australians are very, optimistic, go-getting, and he plays better when he thinks he's an Australian.
Mate, he maybe worked hard for it out there, but I was just so pleased to get through in the end, tough match, tough opponent. Well, yeah, 5 to go, one step closer to the little 1,000. It'll be great to get there, and you never know. Could get it at this tournament, could get it in Llandudno, could get it in Sheffield. Who knows, mate? But it's exciting. It's bloody terrible, mate. I'm having a right nightmare of a life, but I'm just loving being here talking to you right now.
And give us something to watch on Netflix. I know you like your Netflix.
At the moment, Dirty John, the documentary, quite a good one to watch for the lads out there, It's all good, yeah.
A little bit more, if you don't mind.
Ronnie, congratulations. Still Aussie O'Sullivan.
Yeah, mate, a bit of Aussie, bit of Cockney, bit of Aussie, bit of Cockney, bit of Scouse as well, mate. I can do a few accents, mate, just the Oz, but it feels good to talk Oz,
Yeah, still channeling that winning mentality. Is that what it's all about?
Yeah, it's all about the winning mentality, and I'm still in the tournament, so something's going quite well. It must be in the food, it must be in the air, you never know. Preston's a great place.
What does Neil Robertson make of your accent?
I don't know, mate, but he's a cool dude, and it's probably nice for him to have a bit of a companion on the circuit. Being the only Oz on the circuit, he now has a friend in me that he can come and chat to, and don't feel a bit homesick.
What's the best thing about Australia then? What's your favourite Australian thing?
The favourite thing about Australia, I've never been there, so I can't really tell you. But,
one more.
One
funny. More. This is, I think, after he had scored that historic 1000th century.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, the Coral Players Championship 2019 winner, a 10-4 win over Neil Robertson. But first of all, you made history tonight with the 1,000th century break to clinch the title. How was that feeling?
It's been a history-making year. 19 majors, 1,000 centuries, and just in touching distance of Hendry's 36 ranking events. So, and loads of ranking points as well, mate. Totally delighted.
I know you are a bit of a purist when it comes to snooker. I think these history milestones do mean something to you. What does that mean to you tonight to do that 1,000 centuries?
No, it doesn't really. I'm not one of them that kind of goes, oh, I've got this record, got that record. They're nice when you reach them, but that's not the motivation for me playing. The motivation is the ranking points, mate. When I ranking points, I just go, I want them, mate. Give them to me, please.
Now, Stephen Hendry said after the first session today, that's the best snooker he's seen you play this season. We've got Candidno coming up in a couple of weeks for the Tour Championship, and then you've got to have one eye on the Crucible. If you're hitting that kind of form, Ronnie, you've got to be looking forward to those.
Mate, I've got my eyes on the ranking points, mate. Wherever there's ranking points, you'll see me, mate, so don't worry about that.
Well, while we're being Australian, Neil Robertson, you said some very nice things about him by the table there. I think a lot of people misunderstand him, don't they?
Not on the circuit. He's a top guy.
Oh, that'll do.
You know, just like
I can watch that
all
day.
You can tell when he actually wants to answer a question. He's like, I'll answer this in my
Every now and again.
He's like, come on, mate.
But you never know when it's going to happen.
Keeps you on the edge. Love Ronnie. What a character.
Well, I better introduce this next one, I suppose.
Mate, this is something you've gone quite deep down the Croydon cat killer.
Yes, this is, as you say, about the Croydon cat killer. Now, we're not in any way saying that cats being killed is funny or something to celebrate. On the contrary, we're both cat lovers, aren't we? I am anyway. But the Croydon cat killer story was a very strange affair. It was, and is largely now considered to be, a classic moral panic. And the idea was, these cats kept appearing dead in Croydon, and sometimes they'd have like the head would be missing, things like this, and so various people, not least a woman who calls herself Boudica Rising, decided that there was a man or possibly a woman out there who was killing cats for some reason, and then they started finding similar instances happening in London, all around the M25, and then as far as like Liverpool and Manchester and Northampton places, which suggested that if it was a cat serial killer, he was travelling long distances and very prolific. I think they got well over 250 cases in the end. And rather than accept that this might be something other than a cat serial killer, they just thought this guy is maybe a truck driver or something like that.
He's getting around.
Which serial killers, of course, often are. You're from Leeds. Knew about that better than most people. So Boudica Rising set up a group called Snarl. And let's have a bit of a look. This is from the BBC. They were following her around. She gets calls from people. Every time anyone finds a dead cat, Snarl get called out, and they investigate.
2 people on the trail of the so-called Croydon cat killer.
We've been investigating since September.
Boudica and Tony run an animal rescue service in Croydon, but now their entire life is focused on catching someone they believe may be killing cats across London and beyond.
We are both determined to catch this guy.
What's your name?
Don't assume the gender.
This is the first time cameras have filmed them working, and the calls they follow up
they're on the way.
Come in at any time.
It's a very clean cut. There's no blood.
Not a cat this time, but a decapitated pigeon.
Yeah, I mean, that
and even
doesn't
this
count,
is kept as evidence.
It was probably killed by a cat.
It yields a clue.
There's not a mark on the animal. It's just got its head chopped off. They'll have to go to a vet.
Boudica Rising.
Before we know, but that does look like
there's not a mark on the animal. It's got no head.
And a few days later, another call with more relevance to their hunt.
We had a report of a cat found beheaded.
And they're not surprised. The call is to Brighton.
It's somebody who's probably travelling for work or another reason who happens to be killing cats where he finds them.
They stop first at a vet's surgery where the cat's body is being kept.
She's been decapitated.
Very, very similar to the others, which leads us to believe that it's the same person.
Hello.
And then they meet the cat's owner, who shows them the location where the body was found, which they've marked with flowers.
The vet's phoned me up and said, I'm very sorry, but your cat's dead, and worse than that, someone's cut her head off. The cat was beautiful, tortoiseshell, 10 years old.
And he's not surprised this has happened away from London.
He's under a lot of heat, isn't he? A lot of people are looking at him in London now.
Doesn't seem that sad, his cat's dead.
Boudica picks up a bone fragment and searches for any evidence, and then collects the body from the vet's surgery to drive back to London.
Sorry,
the dead cat's in back.
It'll go to the RSPCA, and they will either hold it or they will post-mortem it.
The RSPCA says it's working closely with the police to investigate these reports, and the Met is in close contact with this couple. While we were filming, a detective sergeant was given a phone update.
I've just come out of a meeting at TfL. They're going to do some more mapping for me around bus routes and tram routes.
We've got the TfL on.
Yeah, everyone
the
was
Met
on it.
says its investigation continues.
The Met spent
It can't
hundreds of
rule out
thousands of
the
pounds
cats
on
are
this
being killed
investigation.
accidentally, but it has been confirmed that a sharp-edged implement is being used after death to mutilate the cats.
Well, that actually wasn't
Gareth
confirmed.
Furby, BBC London
That
News.
was not confirmed at all. But the police spent hundreds of thousands of pounds on this case. At one point, I mean, it was a big story. It was reported everywhere, and I would say most people probably believe there was a legit cat killer out there. It was only the fact that there were so many instances just made it seem implausible. And then when you start moving on to pigeons and things like that, you know. But at one point, Detective Sergeant Colin, this is in 2017, he was speaking about a possible motive. He was really trying to do the psychological profiling. He said cats are targeted because they are associated with the feminine. The killer can't deal with a woman or women who are troubling him. At some stage, he'll escalate or feel brave enough to move on to vulnerable women and girls.
Crikey.
But he didn't, because he almost certainly did not exist. And finally, in about 2018, as usual, a bit sketchy with the dates, the Met Police released the conclusion, released a report giving their findings from a very long and expensive investigation. And they said that the Croydon cat killer was, drumroll, a fox, or foxes. And what was happening is that cats were getting hit by cars, and then the foxes would bite their heads off, basically, which actually makes quite a lot of sense and did fit the forensic evidence. However, to say that people were not having this, it would be a huge understatement. There was immediately an online petition to get the investigation reopened. Everyone said it was a whitewash and a cover-up, so I'll give you a few comments. Foxes are clever, but not that clever. The state are lying and using the MSM and other state institutions to do this. They not only kill their own citizens, but also our animals. They can't fool me with this poor excuse. What the police said was a load of bollocks. Foxes are clearly being scapegoated to fit the Tory agenda to overturn fox hunting. This is not the work of foxes. Foxes get the blame for everything. So, I mean, the controversy carries on to this day. I think Snarl is still going. I'm not quite sure.
They're not giving up, them two. Yeah,
but a twist in the tail. They mentioned Brighton there, didn't they? And quite a few of these cats were in Brighton. There's probably a lot of cats in Brighton, you know. But in 2021, a guy called Stephen Bouquet, possibly Stephen Bucket, I don't know. Stephen Bouquet was jailed for killing cats in East Sussex. Shit. He died of COVID in 2022.
Did he?
Yeah. So make of that what you will.
That's a hell of a story, Chris. I want to know how much money was spent on that investigation.
£130,000 as of 2018.
Crikey.
Also, the RSPCA said it was foxes as well. It wasn't just the police.
Well,
for anyone who's actually looked at it seriously has said it was foxes.
Yeah, if you just apply like a couple of ounces of common sense, you think, oh yeah, cats do die. Like you always see lost cat posters. People, my cat died. It's not.
They get run over, don't they?
It's not that strange.
Sadly,
cats
sad, but you know, just a fact of life.
There was a fox on there. I wonder if that fox was involved in the whole operation. There was a point where they were carrying a fox in.
Yeah, they would seem to be looking after the fox.
Yeah.
Well, these people love foxes, don't they? City dwellers basically think foxes are good. Basically, because foxes are a cross between a cat and a dog.
Yeah.
Aren't they, really?
Yeah.
So people like them and will not speak ill of them. Smashing. Shall we move on to former Prime Minister David Cameron?
It's a beautiful moment. David's reign didn't exactly come to a great end.
Ended by Brexit, basically, yeah.
Many people fairly furious at him and him no doubt disappointed. with the
Danny
end
Dyer,
result.
obviously particularly furious about him being
Just
in
one
Nice
of
with
the
his trotters up.
Yeah, one of the best moments we ever find. David appears a few times in our episodes. I think we've got him
one other one coming up.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
But this is just a beautiful moment of David with his microphone still on, wandering back into Downing Street.
Having announced he's leaving.
Done. Yeah, he's resigning.
He's already resigned, but I mean, he's leaving Downing Street now because they've got. What happened was, if you remember, the Tory leadership contest came down to two people. This was a slightly banterous moment, actually, now I think about it. It came down to Andrea Leadsom, who came out of nowhere as being suddenly a possible Prime Minister, and Theresa May. And then Leadsom did an interview in which she said that Theresa May doesn't really have a stake in the future of the country because she hasn't got children.
Shots fired.
Yeah, and she had just resigned. Yeah. So Theresa May won by default, and David Cameron said, right, I'm off. And here he is.
This was the moment.
Saying I'm off.
Thank you very much.
Right. You have a theory for this, don't you?
No, it's not a theory. I've got the facts. I've got the facts at hand. Why did he go do? Obviously, a lot of people said that this is a man who's not taken the job very seriously. Never really cared about it in the first place. But that's not actually what happened. He was going do because prime ministers do not have the keys to Downing Street. In fact, no one really has the keys to Downing Street. It's basically just constantly guarded by policemen. And if you notice in that video, there was not a policeman outside. Yeah. Normally, he'd be letting people in. They essentially let you in from inside, but they have to know that you're there.
You're actually there.
And he didn't want to be walking back to the door and having to bang on the thing, trying to get back in.
Awkward.
So he subtly went do, so they'd heard him and they opened it up.
And gave the viewers a nice little treat.
Yeah.
Lovely little hum.
And that's what happened.
This one is wild.
Not too shabby. Hang on, we're not doing this one yet. We're doing... It's another politicsy one. This is a pretty bizarre one, as we've come to expect on this show. So Bobby Gillespie from Primal Scream, the lead singer of Primal Scream, went on this week, the late night politics show hosted by Andrew Neil. Every now and again there are people like this on, just to show that it's not all boring politicians. You know, let's hear from Bobby Gillespie, who unsurprisingly had some fairly flat pack kind of left-wing opinions about the state of the world. Let's have a quick sample of those before we get to the main banter moment.
You don't think there's progress because your side in politics?
Well, I think
working. I was thinking of a broader sense of, for example, in progress.
I think
if you look at the number, in this country, wages have stagnated for the past 10 years in real terms. But if you look at abject poverty across the world, even in the past 10 years, millions and millions of people have come out of that. Now, they're still poor, but they've come out of the UN's definition of abject poverty. There's been progress.
Really?
Yeah.
Why are millions of people leaving North Africa?
Because there's still millions of very poor people.
And coming to Europe?
Sure. Because Europe's still much richer. But overall, I mean, the figures are...
So that's the kind of level of discussion they had.
It's not the best debating technique to just go, really? When they
just stare at him with your mouth open. Go, yeah.
As if they're going to go, oh, no, actually, I'm lying. No, all your points are right.
But the peculiar thing about this was at the end of the show, we've got, I think it's Caroline Flint and definitely Michael Portillo are the two regular pundits at this stage. And for some reason, they decided to dance to some bloody awful sort of Euro house tune. And Bobby Gillespie, and credit to him, he wasn't going to make a fool of himself like this. So he just sat there looking intensely unhappy. So a quick look.
Look at his spoons. He's still taking it in. He's still taking in the facts.
Thinking I'm going to have a word with my agent about this.
Oh, man.
Somebody later produced a painting based on this particular moment, which Primal Screen themselves then put out on Instagram. It's a nice portrait, isn't it?
Lovely. Look at that. Andrew Nick's come off well there.
He really has captured the moment.
Yeah.
So that was beautiful stuff.
Oh, funny.
But yes, you were saying an incredible moment.
It's just incredibly controversial. Before anybody gets too upset with this one, this is straight from a Guardian article.
Yes.
So it's, we found this browsing the Guardian as we never do.
Always do, yeah.
I mean, always browsing the...
Well, it was a big story across the media, I think. It was one of those kind of, page 17 stories, but,
but a story
amazing stuff. Tell us about the racist Chinese laundry advert, Paul.
It speaks for itself. It's probably the most shocking advert you'll ever see. It's the most overtly racist advert you could possibly create without just filling it full of expletives and essentially racist words. They think
it's difficult to go on.
No, I was just going to say that the makers of the advert thought, how can we express racism without using any language? And just...
But also making the point that our laundry powder will...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they don't want to miss a trick.
Whiter than white.
They don't want to miss a trick. Yeah, they want to sell the product.
They just see a bit of a joke here, don't they? I can't imagine any point really in British history since we've had television where this would be acceptable. I mean, we've come a long way in this country, and we used to have racist TV programs and so on. But I can't imagine even in the 60s anyone producing an advert for Daz like this.
Yeah, it's safe to say they have different expectations and standards when it comes to Chinese marketing adverts.
Yep, let's have a look at it.
Bit of misogyny there. Unbelievable.
I'm often speechless, but I don't really know what to say about that.
The guy that took the job, the black man that was in it, I wonder if he was like, what's the script for this? Like, don't worry about it, mate. Don't worry. But all you need to know is, you'll
get paid.
Yeah. You get one, you're getting paid, and you just get pushed into a washing machine. Don't worry about the bigger picture. Don't worry about the message. Wild. Absolutely
Extraordinary.
Wild. But a good, straight in 2016.
Different strokes for different folks.
Back to one of your favourites.
Finally, the final episode, or the final item in this episode. We've already mentioned Gary Lineker trying to be funny and not really succeeding. But let's talk about him trying to be serious and accidentally being funny. So,
the pivot.
Lineker, of course, big salesman for many years of Walker's Crisps, the Leicester-based crisp producer. And at some point in the Banter Era, don't need to worry too much about the exact date.
No, never do. It's a theme. It's just in the Banter Era, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it was in the second half of the 2010s. Walker's did a sort of online social media promotion in which if you just replied to the tweet with a photo of yourself, Lineker would hold up a framed photo of you and say something nice about you. Now, not unpredictably, this was immediately subverted by mischievous people on Twitter who sent in various pictures, such as Harold Shipman.
Harold Shipman, that's nice.
Rolf Harris, Jimmy Savile, of course. Peter Sutcliffe, all the West Yorkshire legends there.
Not a great
Purple Aki, quite an obscure one there for some people. Different. If you're from the north of England, you'll remember Purple Aki. Joseph Stalin. That's Adam Johnson. It's a blast from the past.
There is a theme.
Fred West, Joseph Fritzl, and many others. And after about after about half an hour, the people at Walker's pulled the plug. Right. I think the phone calls were going through to the very top of the organisation saying this is counterproductive. This could give us bad publicity.
Yeah, there's some consultants getting sacked. That's the consultants are coming and go, great idea, guys. Great bit of software we've got here. We couldn't see this unautomated. Coming. Yeah, they just reply or come up. Oh, sounds great. Yeah, sounds great.
At one point, there was a bit of a phase, as I recall, of people sending photos of people like Jimmy Savile to Donald Trump. and saying, "This is my, my granddad or something. Can you say happy birthday to him?" And I seem to recall that Donald doing it once or twice. I think they tried it with Alan Sugar as well.
Did they?
Possibly.
A few celebrities have been caught out with that. Farage got caught out with it, didn't he? Saying something on the platform where you can, what's it called now? Where you can get celebrities to like say a message for you.
Yes.
Cameo,
yeah.
Yeah, Farage has done some.
Oh, when he's asked to say happy birthday to
and he did
some
like
dodgy character.
an Irish thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but he gets paid for it. I suppose he cares.
It's all a bit of fun, isn't it? Free
All a bit
market.
of fun.
I got George one of them once. Reality TV stars that we've watched.
Oh yeah. Was it the fellow from Come Dine With Me?
No,
saying,
it was.
What a sad little life, George.
No, but I mean, he'd be charging good money with that lad. It was the parents of a wonderful tale from 90 Day Fiancé, which we won't delve into the depths of it, but it's a wonderful reality TV show, Chris. There he is. There's Rolf again.
Thanks for joining the Walker's Wave. So this is the idea that you, if you sent me your photo, you'd be in the draw for some Champions League final tickets. The people, companies don't do this anymore for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
it was always
for half an hour.
It was always going to be subverted by, people, disrespectful people.
Very disrespectful people.
Disrespectful to the Walker's brand.
How dare they? And Gary Lineker's prestigious, shiny image. Somewhat.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, that's the end. That's all we've got time for. And
that's
another episode. That flew by, didn't it?
It did fly, mate, yeah. Let us know.
Don't forget, if you've got any nominations, let us know quickly, because we're going to be recording the final episode very soon. We might do an extra episode afterwards, because we have got some leftovers, and we could even do a rundown of the greatest Banter Era moments as voted for you, the viewers, if we have any.
We could. Just let us know, folks.
But we don't have to.
If you're there.
We don't care.
We don't have to.
We're not bothered.
Yeah.
It's all a labour of love, this.
Yeah.
We don't like it. We don't care.
Yeah. We're just all about celebrating moments of the Banter Era that have now passed us, and we keep hoping that the Banter Era will return, or like seeing something funny. Yeah, something funny's going to happen, and it's just not funny.
Oh, every now and again you get a little glimmer.
Yeah, but it just there's not that consistency.
No,
of
exactly.
Content.
There's no consistency. There's no momentum.
All gets quite serious.
Time
gone by.
Nostalgia ain't what it used to be.
No. But yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. Give us some suggestions. Thanks for watching the show. We'll be back for our final episode 5 very soon.